If you're new to grinding in Call of the Wild, whether you're chasing your first great one or just trying to grind out more diamonds and rares, this is the video for you. Today I'm sharing the top 10 tips for new grinders. Everything that I wish I knew before starting my first serious grind. Now let me know in the comments what species you're currently grinding or plan to grind for next, and we are going to dive right into it. Starting with tip number 1, choose the right species to grind. Not all species are created equal when it comes to grinding. Some are faster and just plain easier to grind. The best and easiest grinds for new grinders are fallow in Aotearoa because they only have around 30 drink zones, and those zones are nice and condensed and easy to find and grind or to check for bouncers. Or there is the pheasant grind in Salsveesen Park. You don't have to find every feed zone. You can set up on the zone and shotgun hunt them or shoot the pheasants from a distance with the 22. Then there is the red deer grind in Aotearoa. This is another great option for new grinders with around only 40 drink zones in Aotearoa. In my opinion, the tougher grinds are black bears and red fox. Bears can be tough because you'll have to spend a lot of time checking exterior zones for big bears to keep them at the 4 grinding lakes. And predator grinds are tougher because when you shoot and harvest a predator, that zone will delete and it will reappear somewhere else on the map. And also red fox because you often have to shoot the female that shares a need zone indicator with a male in order to get that male to respawn. So you're doing a lot more work to spawn that great one red fox. Tip number 2, pick the best map for that species. The map you choose can make or break your grind. You want a map with open terrain and good visibility. Having fewer zones is better because you then will spend less time trying to find zones, less time shooting down zones, and less time checking exterior zones. And it's easier to herd manage maps that have fewer zones. In my opinion, the best map for whitetail is Revontuli or Aski Ridge. And then for red deer and for fallow, my favorite map for both of those species is Aotearoa, and that is because they do have fewer zones and it's a nice wide open map. It's not a thick map. Aotearoa is actually such an amazing map for grinders. Then there is pheasants, and my favorite map for the pheasant grind is Salsveesen Park. And again, it is because they have fewer zones. Now, I would imagine that the best map for the red fox grind is probably Salsveesen Park. I have not done a grind for red fox on that map yet, but I do plan to. But there is the island method, and that is definitely a grind I plan to try out when I get more time. Then for black bears, the best map for that grind is definitely Silver Ridge Peaks. And for tar, my favorite map is Aotearoa because it is not as thick and there are fewer zones for tar. And then for moose, my absolute favorite map for the moose grind is Medved Taiga. There are no floaters, which is awesome. It's really easy to see the zones and there are fewer solo zones. Tip number 3 is to know when to grind. Animals follow predictable schedules. Knowing their drink time helps you find them consistently, which is critical for grinding. Now, I am going to invite you to join my Discord because there is a wealth of information in here that will definitely help you with your gameplay. Now, in here, we do have species info sheets under references cotw. And in this channel, we have an info sheet for every map in the game. Now, I check these every single time I hunt. So in here, you will find every species in the game, their class, max level, diamond trophy rating, max weight in kilograms and in pounds, all of their zone times, their collars, and their common and rare fur types. We also have channels so that you can check all of the grade 1 furs, all of the grade 1 racks. We do have a max level chart for new players, and I just added a channel here telling you how many zones you need for doing a grind on different maps. Then we have ladies' hotspot maps, and in here, there is a hotspot map for every species in the game, and they are all up to date. So say you were doing a grind for whitetail in Leighton Lakes, and you're a new player, not sure what time they drink, go all the way up to the top here. Here is Leighton Lakes, find whitetail, and they drink from 8 to 12. Now, I would recommend setting the time for about halfway through drink time when you are going to go out to grind or even look for your zones, because there is a much greater chance that the animals will be in their zones, and that is always a good thing. So if you were grinding whitetail, they drink from 8 to 12, set the time to 10, and head out. So for tip number 4, you want to find all of your drink zones, and this is for non-predator species, and know the amount of drink zones or feed zones that you'll need to find for that particular grind. Before you even start shooting, spend time scouting. You need to find every single drink zone on your map in order to get consistent respawns. It's always a good thing when there's something to shoot. And waiting for respawns is a big time waster and does not help to spawn that great one. You also need to know what is on your map. You could have an initial spawn super rare, and if you don't check all of your zones, you might not find it. You want a complete picture before your grind begins. If you can, get friends to help you to find your zones and then help them when they are starting up their grind. More hands definitely makes light work. Now, tips for finding drink zones. Okay, so we're gonna go through some tips for finding your drink zones. So you wanna run the map everywhere that the species that you're doing a grind for can drink. So you want to pull open the hotspot map. Okay, so it'll be under Ladies hotspot maps under ASCII Ridge or Whitetail. There it is. So basically start at one end of the map or the other and run and check every water source where whitetail can drink. So they're all along the river and at all of the lakes where there are stars. Now that doesn't mean you're going to have whitetail at every single one of these lakes, but they all do have to be checked. So you definitely want to do a lot of running and spotting into the distance and discovering need zones basically with your binoculars. The other thing you want to do while you are checking the map is pick up any tracks or droppings. When you find tracks, track them. There's a good chance that they will lead you to a drink zone. Listen for mating and warning calls. And if you do spot whitetail traveling or whatever species that you are doing a grind for, do not shoot them. Do not even spook them. Leave them and just watch them, follow them until they get into their drink zone and discover the zone. Now, another thing that is very important, and I think this is something that often gets overlooked, but it is a very smart idea to check your map more than one time. I find that need zones tend to come out in stages. They just don't come out all at the same time. So for example, let's say that this lake right here had 5 drink zones for whitetail. Now, the first time you come to this lake to check for need zones, you might discover 3 of them, okay? So then the next time you come out to look, you need to come back here and check again because the next time you come, you could discover 2 more. They're just not all gonna be there the first time you're there. And the other thing is, there's no guarantee that while you're checking your map, that every zone will be in the zone. So it is important to check everywhere at least twice. I know that sounds like a lot of work, but that is the best way to find all of your drink zones. Now, as far as how many drink zones you're going to need to find, that is very much dependent on the map that you choose. Now, I don't know the amount of drink zones for every single grind on every map, but I do know quite a few, and I am going to share them with you right now. So if you are doing the moose grind in Layton Lakes, you're going to need to find about 110 drink zones. Moose in Medved, 135. Whitetail in Layton, 60-ish drink zones. Whitetail in Revontuli, same thing, 60-ish drink zones. Whitetail in Rancho, 40-ish drink zones. Then there is whitetail in ASCII Ridge, around 40 drink zones. I currently have 41. Whitetail in Mississippi, around 50 drink zones. Whitetail in the New England Mountains, between 80 and 90 drink zones. Red deer in Teawaroa, around 40 drink zones. Mule deer here in ASCII Ridge, between 25 and 30 drink zones. Fallow in Teawaroa, around 30. And fallow in Emerald Coast, between 45 and 55 drink zones. Now, it's important to know that you do not need to find all of the need zones when grinding predators or when grinding feed zones. So there's no need to know the amount of zones for black bears, red fox, Himalayan tar, or for ringneck pheasants. So that is a good thing. Tip number 5 is to use your tents and tripods strategically. So when you are setting up your grind, you want to drop your tent at about 230 to 250 meters away from the zone. So what I do is I drop a waypoint right on my drink zone, and then I run in the direction where I want to drop my tent. So you'll notice here my tent is just under 230 meters. Well, the reason you want to have it at that distance is because the spook radius for any tent is 180 meters, but animals can be within 50 meters in any direction of the need zone. So that is why you want to have your tent at least 230 meters away, so you don't spook them. Now, when you're dropping a tripod or hunting structure, I like to drop them basically 175 to 200 meters away from the zone, you want to be able to run right into the tripod and start shooting without spooking the animals in the zone. So let's do that right now. So there we go. This tripod's a little bit closer, 166 meters, but I ran right in and they have no idea that I'm here. So that is perfect. Now you don't have to use tripods, and when you're starting your grind, you can add them later on if you don't have the cash, the in-game cash, to purchase any hunting structures right from the beginning of the grind. Tents are imperative. You have to have tents to be able to get around, but you can get away without using any hunting structures and add them as you go, because you are going to be making cash as you are constantly shooting and harvesting animals. Now, tripods cost 16,000 in-game dollars, and so do tents, so they're pretty darn expensive. But if you are looking for a cheaper alternative, you can use the Incognito Deluxe Waterfowl Blinds. They come in the Duck and Cover DLC, and they're actually 8,000 in-game dollars, so they're half the price of tripods and tree stands. They don't give you as much elevation, but you can jump up on the edge, which is what I do, and they do give you the same reduced hunting pressure, so they will protect your zones. The reason you want to be using a hunting structure is because when you shoot at a zone, when you are in any hunting structure, you can then shoot 15 animals, and the 16th kill will then delete the zone. Nobody's going to be shooting 16 animals from a zone, so therefore your zone is protected. But when you are shooting at a zone without a hunting structure, you can only shoot 3 animals, and then if you do shoot 4, the zone will delete and it will show up somewhere else on the map. So that is why you want to be shooting from a hunting structure. Now, another bonus of using the Incognito Deluxe Waterfowl Blinds is that there is no loading screen, so it is a little faster to use. You'll notice when I go down, there's a loading screen. Pretty long too. That was like a good 5 or 6 seconds, and it's going to add up. This little bit of time at every single zone will slow you down a little bit, so it is faster to use the waterfowl blinds. So for tip number 6, you want to only shoot the males. This is key. To force the best respawns, you want to only harvest the male animals. There is absolutely no point in shooting females unless you're doing a grind for a species that has female diamonds. There aren't many in the game, but there are a few, such as Gemsbok, chamois, and hares, to name a few. But there are no great one species that have female diamonds, so if you are grinding for a great one, there is no point in shooting females unless you are doing the fox grind. In that case, you do have to shoot the females that share a need zone indicator with a male in order to get the males to respawn. The only circumstance that you need to shoot females is when you are doing the black bear grind. You do want to shoot the females off the main 4 lakes in order to get the males in there. But other than that, you definitely do not want to be shooting females, especially if you are doing the whitetail grind. And let me tell you, when you shoot a female by accident while you are grinding whitetail, it is going to cause serious problems, or it can, for your grind. And what will actually happen is this. It's crazy, and I don't know if it's a bug. I kind of think it is, because why would they program the game deliberately this way? But when you shoot a female or a doe from the whitetail grind, first things first, if this does happen to you, what I would recommend that you do is do not pick that doe up. Leave it on the ground, stay in the game for about 5 minutes, then exit to the main menu, come back, and continue grinding. Now, it might not affect your grind, and hopefully it won't, but if it does, this is what's going to happen. As you continue to do the grind, you're going to notice that you have no respawns. So there's not going to be anything to shoot. So in order to fix this, you're going to have to rerun your entire map and find more zones. By shooting that doe, what it does is it causes more zones to basically pop up on your map, taking the deer from pre-existing zones. So your zones are going to have less deer in them, but you're going to have more of them. And until you discover those zones, you're not going to get consistent respawns. So you're going to have to stop your grind and start looking for zones, and that is a giant time waster and a big pain in the neck. So be very careful not to shoot any does while you are doing the whitetail grind. Now, it doesn't cause problems like that for fallow or for any other species that I know of. It's just the whitetail grind, so be aware of that. And for tip number 7, know what to shoot and what to rotate on. So you want to avoid overhunting in one area, and you want to stick to shooting 2 males per zone and then move on. You basically want to stick to having a consistent routine. I start at the same zone and go through an exact route. I always finish at this zone, then I go back and do the rotation over and over and over again. But by sticking to a certain route, that is going to ensure that you don't miss any zones and you don't hunt the same zone over and over, causing too much hunting pressure. Now, the reason you want to stick to shooting only 2 males from each zone is because when you do shoot more than that, it can cause you to have more bouncers. And what a bouncer is basically when your respawn jumps out to an exterior zone. And that is going to cause problems for your herd management. It's going to slow down your diamond rate and cause you to get smaller respawns. So you don't want bouncers. So that is why we stick to shooting only 2 males per zone. Now, if you are doing a herd managed grind, you want to be setting up on 16 zones to start, 8 main and 8 exterior, and you want to be grinding all 16 of those zones at the same time. You don't want to be just grinding your mains or just grinding your exteriors. You want to do a rotation of all 16 zones at the same time, shooting 2 males from each zone, mid-levels and higher, okay? Now, if you get to a main zone and you have nothing big, you can shoot smaller deer from main zones. But if you get to an exterior zone and you have nothing big, nothing mid-level or higher, that is what you want. So in that case, then you can pull your setup, pull your tent and tripod, set up at another exterior zone, and continue doing your rotation. Continue hitting all 16 zones at the same time and continue doing that until all of your exteriors are shot down. At that point, you're going to pull your tents from your exterior zones, set them up to be pickup tents. That's what this is right here. And from that point forward, you're only going to be then grinding on your 8 to 10 main shooting zones. And that is when the grind is going to heat up, because it's going to go much faster when you have pickup tents, and you can then shoot those stacked diamonds and grind the respawns. Now, for tip number 8, you want to practice and get really good at follow-up shots. Now, it's nice to think that every time we are shooting 2 bucks from a zone that we're going to get 2 perfect shots, but that is just not reality. We're not always going to get a perfect shot on every buck that we shoot. So it is a good idea to get really good at follow-up shots, and the only way to do that is to practice. Okay, so I'm gonna deliberately spook deer from this zone, and then I'm gonna try and shoot them while they're running. Now, first things first, you wanna make sure that you are zeroed correctly. So these deer are 195 meters away. I'm zeroed to 150. That is the correct zeroing. Okay, and these are the 2 bucks that we wanna shoot. Here we go. So I'm just gonna spook them. I'm gonna wait for them to run. Okay, here we go. Now, when you are shooting at running animals, you want to lead the shot. You want to aim in front of them. Beautiful! That was pretty sweet. Now, I do have lots of practice, and that's definitely not the shot I'm going to get every time. I did not get the second one, but basically, when you aim in front of the animal while it's running, basically what's then going to happen is the animal is going to run into your bullet. If you aim right at the animal while it's running, by the time the bullet gets there, the animal is not going to be there anymore, and you're going to completely miss your shot. Let's go for this guy. He is going down. I am going to get him. Well, we're getting a respawn, and that was the goal. So definitely practice those follow-up and running shots, and that will definitely help your grind. Now, here's a quick tip, and this is not particularly a tip that's specifically for the grind, but if you are doing a grind on either Medved or a ski where there's lots of snow, and you feel like you can't see your tracks well enough, and you want to change the color, that is an easy thing to do. So just press Escape, go to System, go to Interface, just scroll down, and here are the colors right there. So you can cycle through, and I just changed my color to blue. So that is how you change your colors. So for tip number 9, you want to keep track of your grind. Now, I started doing this not that long ago, and it has significantly helped me with keeping track of my grind. And what I do is I take a screenshot of whatever map I am doing a grind in. I load it into Canva, but you can use any program. Canva is really easy to use. And then when I am discovering my zones, I will mark that zone as a dot on the map. Okay, so I mark the zones when I first discover them. I mark my zones as either a main zone, so that's yellow. My teal zones are exterior zones that still need to be shot down, and when they are shot down, I change the color to red. So by doing this, when I do go and shoot down an exterior zone, I can quickly and easily know exactly where to go to set up on another exterior zone. So this saves me piles of time. And then I will leave little notes on the map telling me exactly what is in that zone, so I know exactly what is going on with my grind. And this is actually really easy to do. So if you can, keep track of your zone in another program so that you know exactly where everything is and what is going on. And for tip number 10, this is to be patient. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Grinding is very repetitive, but the payoff is so worth it. Diamonds and great ones can take hundreds or even thousands of kills, not diamonds, but definitely great ones, and that's completely normal. This is what you should expect. Don't expect your great one to come along in 200 kills or even 1,000 kills. In my opinion, a 1,000 kill grind is a short grind. So great ones don't usually come along super easy and fast. They can often take a very long time. Not always. You can get lucky and get a nice short grind, but don't expect that or you could set yourself up for disappointment. Now, there is absolutely no way to know how long your Great One grind will take. That comes down to RNG, which stands for random number generator, or luck. You have to have the luck. You need two things in this game. You need luck and you need skill. And if you don't have both, you're not going to succeed. Now, I have done grinds and spawned great ones in as little as 28 kills and in grinds as long as 8,000 kills and pretty much everywhere in between. If you do enough grinds, you are going to get a variety of results. Now, the amount of kills that a great one takes is like rolling the dice. You're going to get a different number every time. Some will be short, some will be long, and lots of them are going to be right in the middle. But you want to be careful not to burn yourself out. This is very, very important. In order to not burn yourself out, you might want to grind in shorter sessions, or when you feel yourself starting to get a little burnt out, switch maps, hunt something else, or even change games. Just remember that every animal gets you one step closer to spawning that great one. But it is supposed to be fun, so if you're not having fun, definitely take a break and come back later. But don't ever quit a grind. That great one will spawn. It might take a while, but when you quit, you're never going to get that great one. All of the time and effort and energy you put into that grind was for nothing. So if you're frustrated, it's okay to take a break. Just make sure you do come back later and get that great one. And make sure to enjoy the journey. This is a game. It is supposed to be fun. So if you're not enjoying it, take a break. Grinding can feel like work, but don't forget to enjoy the game, appreciate the rares, close calls, the cool shots, and the funny glitches along the way. So there you have it, my top 10 tips for new grinders in Call of the Wild. I hope this helps you stay strong, stay consistent, and get those diamonds and great ones that you're after. Like the video if you're grinding right now, comment your current grinds or what great one you're chasing, and subscribe for more tips, hunts, and guides. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to recommend that you click right here to learn how to set up a herd managed whitetail grind on any map.